Are you ready? Yeah. I heard 1 year. Are you ready?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. Our next talk, our wonderful Mirjam, coming every year to this wonderful Graz. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
The stage is
It's
yours.
my
I don't
pleasure.
want to say anything.
Okay, thank you, Hannes. So, welcome everybody. I'm going to talk about inclusive design. And first, of course, a little bit about me. Yeah, what can I say more than these pictures? We are here at... Yeah, and that's not all. There's more. So yeah, I wanted to start with this kind of reflection of the past days. I'm very happy to be here again, as Hannes mentioned. I have been here in the past years. It's a great conference. It's for me, it's a true reflection of UX in the sense that it's really designed to connect together, to have fun, to network, and to look at a presentation or two. And one of them is mine. So thank you for being here. My name is Mirjam Wouters. I'm the Global Innovation Experience Lab Lead at Philips. That means that I'm overseeing and translating innovations through storytelling and immersive experiences. So I have been at Philips for many years, and it's been a diverse journey in different roles and looking at UX from different perspectives. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about Philips in a high level, also to kind of indicate to you that the big corporates are embracing inclusive design to quite a big extent. And so I'm not going to read all these quotes, but it's about the purpose, and the purpose is improving people's lives, which I think is something that I can adhere to. It's about people centricity. We have quite a big sustainability program as well, and diversity and inclusion is part of that. To act upon that, we have women lead programs, but also in innovation and strategy, that's where I'm part of in my work. Our leadership team consists of 7 women and 5 men, which is in tech quite unusual. So we're working on it. I'm not saying that we're there yet at all. So on the topic, inclusive design, well, this is the quote. And you can read it yourself. It's a definition, and I hope it makes sense to you. But what is amazing in this whole event and inclusive design is that it's still gender is such a big topic that's not covered and it's not solved yet. So it's also overlooked in our environments, in our services, but mostly in user research. And I hope to zoom in on that a little bit. So there's some key principles of inclusive design. And so if we look at them, it's first and foremost about diversity and inclusion. And that is something that you can focus on. If you do it, it's not only looking at the needs, but these things you can tackle mostly and best through the setup of your teams. If you have diverse teams, it's much easier to tackle these type of topics. It's about personalized solutions, and personalization, that of course allows for easier adaptation by users and use cases that you may not have been your core focus in your design. Adaptive and modular design is also a big key component here. So this can help you with adaptive interfaces, for example. This is something that we're already in Philips working on. There's a lot about context of use there as well, because if you have, for example, we're designing for nurses that are monitoring patients during the day, but also during the night. Now, they have a set of data that they need to use, and this data is different every moment of the day. It's different when they do the handover to their colleagues. It's different at night when they are overseeing, hopefully, sleeping patients, and it's different in the case of an event. So if you take that into consideration in your solutions, that's really going to help you. And the next one is the community engagement, and that is beneficial, something to do. For example, we work with patient groups. That's having diverse groups. It's not your 5 users that you're dealing with, but it's really looking at bigger cohorts, trying to voice them, and maybe it's multiple cohorts from different angles. That will really help also to come up with good design. And lastly, it's neurodiversity affirmation, and there the example is in my world and environment is autism. Autism can produce very brilliant co-workers that you really need to solve certain problems, but it's also a group of people that is really, has different needs and different, they need a different type of privacy than you would normally expect. So if you take this all in consideration, then you make a truly inclusive workplace. Some examples here. Emoticons, we all know them. And they are adorable, they can be at least. They're very appealing to us, and actually they are organized by the Unicode Consortium, which is a Silicon-based Valley organization, and they ensure this kind of universal rollout of the icons. So this is one icon with a certain type of meaning, and that is then embraced by whoever is embedding it in their software. So up until 2016, these were yellow faces, yellow of color, and there were other things that were kind of getting the attention, and that is that for example, a runner, and it only changed in 2016, and that is like, it's 8 years ago. That's not a lot. So there was only one runner, and runner was always a male icon. So luckily that has changed for the better. So now we have variety in skin colors. We have a lot of different solutions. You have the pull-outs that you can find your own color and gender that you feel you relate most to. And that's really important, because this is really bringing a sense of belonging that we need in our inclusive design principles. So a few more examples, and this is really something that's quite unnoticed in our everyday lives. It's the different impact of size and difference between men and women. So this is in various aspects in our surroundings, and it's something that we kind of accept, but we kind of address, but do we address it enough? So if you see on the left, there's a nurse, and she's taking care of patients. So in her 8-hour shift, she can lift about 1,800 kilos on average on patients. That is more than construction workers or miners are doing. Yet there's hardly any research towards how the physiological impact of that on nurses. So in the middle, you see police women, and a lot of protective wear, not just for the police, but also for astronauts, for firefighters, etc., are designed for, they're not designed for female body shapes, so they get a lot of impact. It doesn't fit, it gives bruises, it's too heavy on, in different locations, and even to the impact that recently a female astronaut could not go into space because there was no suit available for her. So they had to send a man instead, and that's today. So work to be done. And then on the right, we see a crash test dummy. So that's really looking at car design. And there's all these safety features like seat belts. They have not really progressed in the past years. And they're really designed with the male driver in mind. So that means that there's the reality here is that 70% of women are more likely to die in car crashes because of the design of the safety belts. There's the crash test dummies. Up until recently, there were only male dummies to do the test with. So there's still quite a lot of impact, and it kind of makes us realize that women are not simply smaller versions of men. That's something we really have to understand better and take better into consideration, that our physiological bodies are fundamentally different and we behave different. And that's in our, it's also in disease types. Philips is a healthcare company, so we deal a lot with diagnostic devices. And women have symptoms that are different than men, for cardiac arrest, for example. And I'd like to show you a little video on this. Bear with me. It is in Dutch, but there's a subtitling with it. And now I don't hear the audio.
Even. Je zou misschien verwachten dat ze dus ook eerlijkere beslissingen nemen. Toch is dat niet altijd zo. Ook AI blijkt vooroordelen te kunnen hebben, net als mensen. In de gezondheidszorg zijn daar veel voorbeelden van. Zo kan een arts AI gebruiken om hartfalen te helpen herkennen. De arts voert de klachten van een...
Well, I see it here, but I don't see it there. You know what? It's basically, I'll summarize it. There always has to go something wrong, right? So basically, this is my colleague Arlette, and she is expressing how the symptoms for women are different in cardiac arrests. They have the, if you look at the typical, so the typical male is like the Hollywood posture, right? It's like the grab to the heart and going down, pain in the arm. And that is true for male. The average profile is about 40 to 60. If you Google it, that's the image that you'll see first. But we see that a lot of younger women are having cardiac arrests, and they have very different symptoms. And the symptoms that they have are considered to be atypical. But they're not atypical, they're just different for them. Now I have to see how I get back to my... Just 1 second. How did you... Yeah, how did you move it here? Yeah, there.
Here we go.
Thank you. So basically the final question with in the movie is like, can you use data if data is biased? Because this user research is done on the kind of the male persona, and it's something, it's not working. And so basically that's something that's really important and that we see a lot in our healthcare work. You have to kind of redo this user research if you come across these kind of false starting points. and we have to really do something about that. Another example is when we do the research, we have to research it on mice and mice testing. And guess what? Testing with mice is done on mostly male mice. And it's like, why? There's different answers to that question. But so pain medication, so 90% of drugs testing is tested on male-only animals. And if you see that, and you see the impact, and you see that in the US, sleeping pills, they were keeping women drowsy. The prescription was too high for women with their different physiological models, and they would be crashing cars in the morning because they were still too sleepy. So then the medication had to be like halved to be functional. So again, this type of testing, this type of research is it's very difficult to live with these days. Then some more examples. So the world is in need of big solutions here, and women have specific needs, and I have some examples here. So on the left, you see girls, and they are predominantly in Indonesia and Mongolia, and they are having a period tracker. And these period trackers, they're widely spread, but this one is specifically designed for them. So it has these are countries where menstruation is taboo, and so they want to keep it hidden. So it's kind of gamified, and it has some special security features, so they can keep it private from their male relatives. In the middle is an example of India, where Google has made a special feature in their navigation, in their maps, that if women take taxis, for example, it can track the route, and if the route is deviated from, then they will get an alert. And on the right, you see a breast pump, where breast pumps were, till very recently, they were very, big equipments, and women had to sit down and in special rooms to do that activity. And now today we're making them more mobile, we're making them more friendly, and we're also making them less technology savvy. So it's closer to their needs. And so these examples, they just highlight the importance of system modeling and diverse designs, where you take culture, environment, user tasks, tools, etc. You take it into consideration to come up with appropriate solutions. So a lot of this data it comes from this great book, and it's called Invisible Women. And has any of you read it? Yeah, great. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's stacked with examples, and I think everybody should read it because it's a really eye-opener. And I think, we all need to embrace this knowledge to help to address this gender gap. And I've been carrying it around here in the conference, and a lot of people responded to it, like, hey, great book, I've read it. So, we all need to kind of take these starting points into consideration. Now, for those who haven't read it, I've made a summary of some of the elements that the writer is talking about. So, starting on the left, so 30% of children's TV characters are female, meaning that a rough 70% is male. Which is, we come from a male-dominated culture. We're in a rapid transition, which is really great. But but it's still, the female experience, half the population is seen as kind of less relevant. So that's something that we really need to change. The second point, the school books, that is kind of, it's kind of understandable. We come from this history that's male-dominated. So yeah, a lot of history is about men, so that we have work to do there. That is kind of understandable. But yeah, work in progress. And then the third point is that 75% of unpaid work is globally executed by women, and that's not calculated into. So that's a lot of domestic work, it's taking care of children, and that can really also, if you take that into consideration, it can really change the way you look at use cases. So another important factor. Then on the bottom left, it's the tech teams that are mostly technically educated males, where we would really like to see that diversity in these teams. Then the car accident example, 47% are more likely to be seriously injured. And that's scary. I have trouble getting back into a car if I read that. And then lastly, the example of the heart attacks and the misdiagnosis that can occur there. But there's many more. There's the calorie counting in your fitness equipment that's based on the male physiology, and sleep medication, piano design. There's numerous examples here. And this is all caused by reference men. So this is the typical profile that is used. It's John, why not John? He's 30 years old, he's 70 kilos, he must be like 1.85 m, Barbara? Yeah, so it's kind of this profiling, and a lot of user research, and especially clinical research, is really kind of has been focused on this type of profile. So yeah, we can do nothing about it today than just kind of acknowledge it and make sure that we change and we kind of redo this user research with more diverse and inclusive user groups. So what's next? What can we do what are the first steps we can take to change this? So basically, also in companies, we see a structural approach. So it's starting with the inclusive workplace. If you create that, everybody feels valued and respected, that's going to help make diverse teams, have a diverse workforce, different nationalities, different genders, different background, different ages, also very important. Blend that together, and then this team will also have the different perspectives to easier come up with the diverse solutions. Then the community engagement again, looking at diverse communities. Don't just stick to your strict target group. You can have employee resource groups. We have a women lead program, for example. That's really helpful to connect. And of course, training and development in these topics can help. But one of the things that's still a very useful element is the use of personas. So I just took some images of how our persona database looks like. So we have layers, we have navigators, different types of groups, where we then zoom into a different topic that we want to address. And that is summarized in kind of a high-level summary, looking at tasks, looking at roles, looking at the hierarchy. And but this is really kind of task-based. It's very much looking at workflows, etc. It just creates a basic understanding, and how you can start iterating there. But what's really important is to do much more validation. Really ask questions, stay curious, have all these can this person with this training do these tasks using this equipment to these standards, the conditions, with that satisfaction. And if you have any bias or uncertainty, then go back to the user research, go back and find out more, get more clarity. That is really important to work. Also in our way of working, we really we do the user research, we do the analysis, then we work in co-create sessions. That's also really helpful, really a fast way to come to inclusive results is if you bring your stakeholders together, work with them, co-create with them, don't design in your own ivory tower, but go out, explore, visit their spaces, and work with them to get clarity on the subject. That may mean that you need a different set of tools, because if you have design workshops, designers are equipped with a certain type of thinking, a certain type of mindset, a certain type of articulation, and you can't really expect your patient or your surgeon, in our case, to have that background as well. So we have all types of toolkits that we develop to make it easier to kind of build storyboards rather than to expect people to by themselves verbally articulate what they need. So that sense of curiosity is really important in the design process. And then has some types of possibilities are designing for inclusion is to look at the different user groups and user spectrums. How do you bring this a solution? What is your focus in your solution? Is it adaptive? I really love the example of do you notice the Stokke chairs? They're these children's chairs, and they go from age 1 to 7 or adults. It doesn't end. So that means that you can basically you look at the spectrum of your users, and you take the broad spectrum and see how you can make something that's modular enough. But there's also the customized solution, and of course your iPhone is a very good example. I'm also looking. I was at your talk yesterday, and I saw that by no means it's perfect, but it's a step forward where you can customize to your needs, and you do it basically after the product is kind of developed. So it's designed into the solution that you bring. But there's also the portfolio. You can. Oh, sorry. That's you. She's turned that off. So there's so basically a portfolio. Sometimes you just have a different set of solutions, and you can't cater for all of them. It could be large, medium, and small sizes. It could be. I love this example of makeup. That's kind of it comes in different colors because skin colors are different. So then you have to kind of diversify the solution that you bring. So yeah, there's numerous more examples. So to conclude is this kind of slide, which has a lot in it. So how we interact with the world around us is influenced by many complex factors, and they're all working together, they're all combined together. So this medical professional and how she contributes to a safe healthcare system is determined by her own physical and physiologically. It's defined by her team. It's also defined by the goals and tasks that she is expected to do, the equipment that she needs, the environment that she's working in, the working conditions, the process, the admin that she must apply, the organizational structure she works in, and the societal factors play a big role in her success. So to conclude, to be truly exclusive, we have to understand how all factors work together, verify data sources again and again, and validate through various testing methods. That was the end of my story, but I hope there's some questions in the room.
Thank you. Let's start with the questions. Ladies first.
Thank you. And thank you, Mirjam. I think this is truly an eye-opener, even though we all somewhat know that this happens. I was wondering, because there are so many nuggets of design wisdom in your presentation, if as a designer we feel time pressured and there's no room to just broaden the whole user research part, what is the one thing we can change to be more inclusive for women or any other human characteristic?
Well, I would say it starts with the team. If your team composition is diverse, if you start with bringing most, different angles, different nationalities together, that will be the starting point of your, kind of creation of awareness of the different views that you can start with. So diversify yourself, I would say.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for the talk, by the way, really inspiring. Do you have started to create inclusive teams at Philips by not just include women, it's important, but also include people with disabilities to maybe form inclusive product teams? Do you have any experience with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
And I think the company has to kind of allow for it. But for example, we have an employee of 92, and he comes in with a trolley, and everybody looks at him like, what? But that's very important, because that is an aging population is a reality. So we have to adhere to that. The autism is widely recognized, and that's very important, because there's some very easy handles, and this comes from. So one of our communication experts is somebody with autism, and he's really stood up and he really made this community known. Those are the two examples that I can immediately think of, but we have had more examples in the past, and we will have more, I think, if I think about it a bit more.
Thank you. I wonder, how do you solve this problem in product design? How is it addressed in your company? When, for example, you have a product you're designing and let's say equally amount used by men and women, how is this addressed from design perspective?
Yeah, so it's really looking at methodology. So it's a very good question, but it's also creating that awareness. So we have usability teams who are really kind of very well trained and educated in this. But also I think it was in your presentation, Joe, of last year, wasn't it, that there was a company, and it was a usability company, and they kind of collected all the gloves they found in New York City, and they put them on the wall. And this was just kind of a living and breathing document of the proof of different sizes of hands. And so it's basically creating that awareness that is the first and most important thing. And so we have different programs that kind of start with that. But also in your validation, you have to be very keen on validating on the diversity aspects. I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Any other questions? Yes, no, yes. Then I have to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Mirjam. Don't forget to rate. And now, lunchtime. We see us at, I don't know, after the lunch.